a member of the House Armed Services and Homeland Security Committees. Congressman, good to see you. Thanks very much. Weigh in on all of this. Your take.
Gee, what a coincidence. One day before Super Tuesday, but it's not political. It's just coincidental. So, I don't see why we put so much stock in the fact that this could actually be political. It's a prosecutor from an area where 80% of the people voted, for Biden. So it's very popular to go after the former president. And so, yeah, it smells like politics. If it walks like a duck and talks like and quacks like a duck, it's probably a duck.
Well,
so it's probably politics.
Congressman, what do you think all of this means? I mean, I don't think anybody could really say how this is going to play out. 4 indictments, and the guy is still in the lead in terms of the presidential election. And this is all going to play out in the middle of campaign season. As you note, it's the day before Super Tuesday. What's your take on these trials? Will she get a trial in March of next year?
It's doubtful that she can get a trial in March because they indicted so many other folks. And so, everybody has their constitutional rights. Look, the right to a speedy trial is actually the right that is given to the charged, the accused, not the state. And so, the accused have the right also to prepare adequately for their defense. And I don't believe that you can get a trial that's accusing 20 people in 6 months. I think that's stretching it a little bit.
Yeah.
They're going to try to do their best to do it, and let's see what the judge says. But it would be patently unfair to have that trial that soon.
New Fox News poll shows that the former president is still dominating the GOP field. He's at 53% of support. Congressman, you were with President Trump and several other lawmakers at the Iowa State Fair over the weekend. How was the former president? Tell us about the state fair and the reaction to Trump in the middle of all of this.
Well, it was a clear winner. Obviously there he had the biggest crowds, the most enthusiasm. People wanted to shake his hand, wanted to be close to him. The president was full of energy, even though he knew that something was going to come down, from Fulton County. He's still, he's pretty good at compartmentalizing things, putting things on one side. He knew that was coming, but he's laser focused on becoming president of the United States again and on his campaign. And so, first time for me in Iowa, first time for me in the Iowa State Fair. It's quite an affair. And so I looked at those crowds, and he was by far the most popular figure and by far the most powerful political figure there, and people just wanted to be around him. So yeah, clear-cut winner in Iowa was President Trump.
Here's Kaylee McGee-White. Go ahead, Kaylee.
Congressman, I want to get your take on another poll out this morning that shows 49% of voters think that the charges from the Justice Department, from Jack Smith specifically, are politically motivated against Donald Trump, and also that show that 48% of voters are not confident that the Justice Department is able to operate in a nonpartisan manner. So my question is for you is, how do you and your colleagues, our elected lawmakers who are tasked with the oversight of the executive branch, how are you going to take voters' concerns to the executive branch?
I think we already are. Look, Jim Jordan is looking at the weaponization of the FBI, the DOJ, and every one of these steps that the DOJ takes just leads more credence to the fact that we need to look deeper into what's going on in the DOJ. Look, it appears that Biden has taken a page out of Daniel Ortega. Daniel Ortega won re-election in Nicaragua last year simply by putting all his opponents in jail. And so it looks like, hey, that worked pretty well for Daniel Ortega. Maybe it'll work for me too. And so, yeah, that's what the American people are looking at. President Biden and the DOJ apparently are following the trail of Daniel Ortega and his strategy of winning the presidency again. And it appears to be all political. All of this stuff, they want to have these trials as soon as possible, right in the middle of election season. Hey, are you looking for justice, or are you just looking for a way to derail the leading opponent, your leading political opponent? Most Americans, many Americans, are thinking that this is purely political in nature. We in the House are looking at the weaponization of both the FBI and the DOJ. We need to continue to dig, and I'm sure that look, it's pretty obvious what's happening here in the United States, and it's pretty sad what's happening here. I never thought in my wildest dreams that I would be looking at what's going on right now with the DOJ and the FBI.
Well, it's extraordinary, but at the same time, President Biden is getting all that he wants. He's pushing through all of his policies. He's celebrating the Inflation Reduction Act one-year anniversary this week. He did so at the White House yesterday, and he's claiming that Bidenomics is restoring the American dream. Former President Trump joined Kudlow for an exclusive interview yesterday, explaining what he thinks Bidenomics is about. Watch this.
Inflation was caused, in my opinion, by energy, because it's so big. Energy is so big. It's like all-encompassing everything. You make donuts and the ovens and the trucks that deliver them, and no matter what you do, it's so much about energy. And when they stopped drilling, when they, we had it going like nobody. You were a big part of it. You really had a big thing going for selling all this to Europe and all these other countries,
yes,
right? And we would have made a fortune.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so sad to see what they did. They cut it off. And again, we were drilling much more.
Larry's full interview today at 4 p.m. Eastern. Congressman, it is the climate change agenda that is undermining economic growth, is it not?
Look, I call it the Chinese Dependence Act, because really what we're doing is we are cutting our noses, we're cutting our own production of energy and becoming dependent on China. Why would you do that? This is not the IRA is not the Inflation Reduction Act. It's the Inflation Enhancement Act. And then there's trillions of dollars of American dollars going to make us more dependent on Chinese energy sources and at the same time destroying American energy. It makes no sense. Unless, of course, you look at it through a different lens, right? Who was giving Hunter Biden and the Biden family millions of dollars? Chinese energy companies. Wow, hey, what a coincidence. And so, all of this is kind of linked together, and that, things that kind of make you go, why would President Biden do these things? Well, the only reason that he would do it, maybe he's compromised. Maybe the Chinese have something on him. That's why these policies that were passed, by the way, in the last Congress, not this Congress, we're stopping those policies in this Congress. We're meant to enhance, our dependence on China. Again, makes no sense. It's actually running against the American people, against American interests.
Well, it's pretty incredible that all of this provocation from communist China is met with zero response from this administration. I mean, whether you have a surveillance balloon surveilling American citizens and our military installations or police stations in America, massive hacking of our, government agencies, the State Department and the Commerce Department, they hacked into it right as Anthony Blinken was making his way to Beijing. And then the real in-your-face lack of respect. Our Treasury Secretary goes to China and they serve her psychedelic mushrooms, and then she laughs about it. She actually took hallucinogenics in the mushrooms. Let's watch Janet Yellen explain this away as she cracks up about it. Watch.
I went with this large group of people, and the person who had arranged our dinner did the ordering. There was a delicious mushroom dish. I was not aware that these mushrooms had hallucinogenic properties. I learned that later.
Congressman, can you imagine if a delegation from China came to the U.S. and U.S. officials fed them hallucinogenic mushrooms? What does this say about the way communist China views America to do this to the U.S. sitting Treasury Secretary?
Well, look, they don't respect us. There's no need for them to respect us. Our president, look, it makes sense to me. Our president, with everything that's come out, with our investigations into where, the money, how much money has been flowing into the Biden family enterprise from these adversary countries, especially China, none of this is a surprise. And when this all started and people started saying, well, why would he do this and why would he do that? And I said a long time ago, the only reason that he would do this or that, things that are against American interests, are because he's probably compromised. And I'm I've gotten to the point that he is compromised. And so all of this makes sense. The Chinese know that they can laugh in our face. We continue to, please, China, please have a meeting with us. Please let us allow our secretary to go over there and talk to your secretary and see what we can do to smooth things out. And China's laughing all the way and making fools of us. And this administration does nothing to enhance or restore American integrity around the world and how the world views America.
Yeah.
It's also very important, and the confidence that we have to give to our allies that we will stand up to the threat that is the Communist Party of China.
Yeah, but we're not. Congressman, it's good to see you. Thanks very
No, we're
much
not.
for being here. Carlos